Okay.
Here with Jim Carty of the Patch newspaper, and I am here with Stephane Wrembel, gypsy jazz guitar, great. And tell me why you're coming to the U.S. and where you're going to be in the Connecticut area.
Well, I live in the U.S. actually. I've been there for like 25 years.
I see
Although
that. Yeah.
I'm French by birth,
Hmm.
and played two wonderful gigs at the Side Doors and the Sanctuary.
Yep.
Um, we're gonna play with my full band. Probably, you see, we never really know exactly what we're going to play.
Hmm.
We tap different areas of the repertoire depending on the room, depending on the day, depending on the crowd, depending on the vibe.
Hmm.
But usually always involve at least a couple of songs by Django Reinhardt, the
Yep.
great master gypsy guitar, but also a lot of my compositions, including the songs I composed for Woody Allen movies like Midnight in Paris and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, and a lot of different compositions from my other albums and all. And the every concert is different and unique,
Hmm.
and every concert is a journey.
Cool. And didn't Woody Allen do Sweet and Lowdown too? The movie about Django's competition in America, I think.
Yeah, it was a great biopic about Django, but instead of being a strict biopic, he
Yeah.
created an imaginary character
Yeah.
and a way for him to talk about Django Reinhardt and have like full blown creativity on the
Yeah.
crazy of his character.
Yeah, I knew Bucky Pizzarelli and I know Howard Alden. I think those were the two guys that did the guitar work for the soundtrack.
Definitely, Howard Alden was like
The
the guitar
primary. Yeah,
probably already too at some point, but I'm sure, yeah, Howard Alden.
yeah, which I thought he did great. So, how did you come to gypsy guitar? Other than being a Frenchman, were you in the same kind of region where Django had lived, or?
Well, this is where we are. I'm like 5 miles from Django's grave and Django's house and Django's
Wow.
family and Django's memory and Django festival. It's all around here, like we're really like literally 5 miles from here,
Yeah.
like in France right now. So this is where I'm from, and I grew up with the gypsies, and I grew up with their way of playing the guitar. But music is not such a separate thing. There is no genre that's like an idea of the modern world. In reality, music is just music. There's only one.
Right.
There's rhythm and melodies, and we sing songs, and it's incorporated into our nature. It's not separated. So
That's a
there is the
wonderful
idea
thing.
genre and all that is like a construction of the modern world. It doesn't apply to the deep nature of music and the deepest nature of human beings.
I have to agree with you, but I think the idiom in which you work is very musical. You have to be very creative and feel it, and it's very emotive and emotional stuff to listen to. I remember I went up and I was almost in tears the last time I saw Dorado Smith and Samson Smith. I mean, I think that the gypsy jazz guitar is just a beautiful thing to listen to,
Yeah.
and I see that you work with David Grisman, who worked with my friend Jerry Bodwin, who's been called the American Django. Have you heard of Jerry at all?
I haven't heard of him, but yes, we recorded an album with David Grisman in 2004, I think, or 2005, called Gypsy Rumble.
Yeah, he did. The mandolin playing is just off the hook with Grisman, isn't it?
Yeah, and Grisman has a very strong character.
Yes.
He has a great sense of melody and production and all great sound. So it's not just skills,
Mm,
it's just like a mandolin over a guitar. It's David Grisman, with as a
great.
human. That's always what it goes back down to. It's like groups of people. You notice that's usually like when you have like single people, they are like smart and all, but as long as you have a group of people, it start to dumb down the whole thing. So
Right,
the
right.
same thing as when once you start to say gypsy jazz, it kind of like dumb down the whole thing, or
Mm,
blues or something like that. In reality, what matters is the human being playing the instrument, because this is where you have the real essence of the music, you know. It's really with the single human being, you know, and the chemistry between the single units like that.
I think, you know, from the time I spent with David, he's very giving, very much cares about the music and the product you're going to turn out, very willing to work with the people in the room. And it's not about him at all. There's no ego. It's just about the music, and he loves it, and he puts
Oh,
his everything into it, you know?
we all search the great chemistry.
Yeah, good, good. That's so wonderful. So tell me about your band and who's in it and how they came to you.
We have two guitars, bass and drums.
Yeah.
It's a rhythm section from New York City. The drummer, Nick Anderson, we were together at Berkeley at some point. And I met the two in New York City over the years. The bass player, Harry Folman Cohen, is the one I've been playing with the longest, since 2006, I believe, or 2007, something like that. So really like almost 20 years, like at least 15 years. And is an incredible, this is like the most incredible rhythm section. It's one of the best in New York City, like all style together, like whatever you're talking about. These three guys are some of the best in the world.
I'm excited to hear the project. So I think I saw an interview with you in preparation for this, and you were saying that your time living in New York City has really informed your playing. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Well, you know, music is impressionist. When you play music, you tell stories, you know, about what's up in your life, you know, whatever you do, wherever you are, whenever, you know, it's an expression of yourself in your environment. You have no choice, and your personality. So going to New York, of course, had a huge impact, because especially when I moved there in 2003, it had a lot of character. And this is when like everything that I prepared before came into place, and all the different influences came together and allowed me to create like my own sound, because of that the varieties of things that were available back then, you know. And now it's been like 20 years later. So it's all integrated now, you know, like I'm one, man. Right now I'm a whole, you know what I mean? It's a whole unit. So
yeah.
New York is definitely a part of that. There's a lot of things you have in New York that you don't have in other places, because you can meet people from all over the world. That's really like an incredible experience, you know.
I think it's probably, you know, other than France, the other place you can get good fresh bread every day.
Yeah, it's not bad, but I must say I live in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we definitely top the level of bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. In
maybe
there's a place in Maplewood called Artie's, like usually used to be called the bread stand. They have incredible bread. There is some in Frankfurt, New Jersey. We have like really, we have amazing bread and amazing like pastries and stuff.
Good. Because, you know, you take the Frenchman out of France, but he still needs his bread every day, right?
Yeah, I think that is a culture. Like we created that stuff, but there is talent all over the world. And as people learn, we create the same thing everywhere now.
Yep, absolutely. So what else should people know about your background, Stephane? I mean, your resume is so long. It's tough for me to interview people like you, because you've worked with so many great places like Carnegie Hall, and you know, you've worked with so many wonderful people. Can you just recount maybe one or two great stories from your being on stage with, you know, like a nice guest or a special evening?
Yeah, definitely. Like the big show we had at Carnegie Hall with Aldi Meola and Stockel Rosenberg was right up there, you know, especially when we played Mediterranean and Sundance on the second set, the three of us, that was epic. But it's really, you cannot really quantify every show from the size of the room or the guests or stuff like that. But like, you can have a very small show that has an incredible energy and a very big show that doesn't have much in it, you know. So it really depends. But every show definitely still has its own power, its own story, its own moment, you know. I don't know. What we try to do every time is, no matter what, is provide a world-class concert. And with the rhythm section I have, it happens every single time. So for us, it doesn't matter how many people, the size of the room or anything. There's really the vibe is what matters the most, and the response of the people. And when we start the concert, we have sometimes an idea of what we're going to play. Sometimes it radically changes as we go. Sometimes we follow sort of a plan that we have that day that we feel will work. It's really like movable, like it adapts and it will fall in the right place. We're going to find a way to make it fall where it should. So if every concert is different and every concert is like that, we're very powerful and unique.
And what's great is the Side Door Jazz Club is like an old school New York jazz club, but in Connecticut. And it's a beautiful sound, beautiful vibe, intimate.
Yes, I also must say that the owner is a musician himself. Yep. He's an incredible guitar player, and he understands what musician needs, what the crowd needs. He knows exactly like how to put together a concert for both parties. The musician really does. And create an incredible vibe. So it's definitely a very unique place.
As is the Sanctuary. The Sanctuary, I just went to the Sanctuary for the first time within the last month. Have you played that venue before?
The Sanctuary, I play with great joy once a year. We go there. Same, the owners, they are both like philosophy teachers also. Yeah. But the stage in the middle of a huge field, in the middle of nature, with the stars and stuff around. It's very like, it's very goats. It's very mystical. And the animals are around, being happy, and there is the elements, and it's really a fantastic place. You can tell the people like really care about the philosophy of their venue.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm very happy that you're playing two wonderful, unique venues here, one indoors, one outdoors, and we're looking forward to seeing you after you are done visiting family and having barbecues in France.
Oh yeah, vacation. Unfortunately, but I'm like eager also to go back to play and tour and all that. It's also very exciting. So I'm ready for that. So yeah, it's gonna be our back to America. So I'm like really like looking forward to it.
Well, one last thing, do you have a current release that people will be able to purchase while you're at the club or the Sanctuary?
The latest release we have is Django New Orleans.
Okay.
Django New Orleans is a 9-piece band that I just created a couple of years ago. It's like a side project, but it's very good music. It's really like a not even a fusion. It's like we play like the music of Django Reinhardt and the standards of New Orleans with both aspects. We have the Django guitars and violin, and we have the New Orleans like drums, percussion, sousaphone, trumpet, saxophone, singer, and all that blended together in a modern way. Because the groove of the guitars in Django is slightly different than New Orleans, but it comes from there. So it never has been latched together properly. And that's project. So now with the sousaphone and all, and those guitar, it swings like really hard in a certain way. It's very hot, cool. And very, very happy with this album. It's really like, that's why it's called Django New Orleans. Celebrate exactly those two vibes together. It married them as one.
You got to have the element of swing to make it work for me. So I'm excited to hear it.
Good.
All right, Stephane, will you go enjoy your family time? I appreciate you taking a little time out today.
Thank you so much, Jim.
All right, take care. A bientôt.
Take care.